2026, 5:30 for the common council meeting. Roll call, please, clerk.
Mayor Butterman?
Here.
Councilmember Mosher Campbell?
Here.
Councilmember Walsh Russo?
Here.
Councilmember McHugh?
Here.
Councilmember LaFrentine? Councilmember Carson?
Here.
Councilmember Harrison?
Here.
Councilmember Marks?
Yes, here.
Councilmember Matheson?
Here. Would you please stand for the pledge? Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, thank you all for being here. You've heard the bell, and we'll talk about that in just a moment. But we're going to move the agenda around just a little bit. Last minute change. Councilmember Harrington has to leave very soon here to address the matter at work. So there's a discussion agenda item that we're going to move to the top and do that now. So that Councilmember Harrington can participate in that discussion before we have to depart. Once we complete that discussion and the discussion, then we'll go back into the regular order. We'll start with the mayor's remarks and then proceed accordingly. Okay? So, we're skipping ahead to discussion agenda, motion number 5. These are related, but we'll look at them individually. Motion number 5, that the Common Council authorizes the city administrator to execute a memorandum of agreement with the United Federation of Police Officers Incorporated, affiliated Local 764, the Oneonta Police Benevolent Association Incorporated, to temporarily modify the terms of collective bargaining agreement Article 8, hours of work, to provide for an alternate temporary workday and workweek for police officers assigned to the patrol division as presented. Is there a motion? Motion from Councilmember Carson, second from Councilmember Walsh Rousseau. Okay, discussion. Councilmember Harrington, I think you want to go.
Yeah, so this is gonna probably combine them, I don't mean to, but, so my questions are, in looking at this is, does this change our minimum staffing on the shifts? So it's, so it's still gonna be 3, I'll put my glasses back on so I can see. So it's gonna remain,
Yeah, it would still be 2 patrol officers and a dispatcher.
okay, and then, look at that, you just answered 2 questions. Is this, do you think this is gonna help reduce any kind of overtime, or?
Well, I think more importantly, we're trying to prime the pump here. One of the things that we found is that when we're recruiting, the 8-hour shifts are a deal breaker in many cases. So in order to become more current with local police agencies, the offering of 12-hour shifts may actually enhance our ability to recruit. So we're trying this to see if this is something that we can manage. I don't think that there's going to be a significant savings in overtime initially. There may be as we move forward because we're able to get more interest.
Okay. You don't see this as adding any kind of overtime?
It's hard to say at this point. I don't think so. I think we'll be within our overall budget for the year. So I don't think there's going to be any budget problems.
Okay.
Councilmember Harrington, I saw your hand come up. Councilmember Walsh Rousseau. Was that a follow-up to the question, or do you?
It was not a follow-up, so it's
Okay.
a separate issue. So
I see he's got a
did you have
list
other?
there.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay, I'll come to you, and I think Councilmember Marks had her hand up too.
Okay. Sorry.
Thank you, go ahead.
And I noticed that in this, it specifically says it won't include your detective division.
Correct.
What happens when the detective division has to come out and help cover shifts? Are they still gonna stay at 8-hour shifts, or are they going to have to transfer to the 12-hour shift?
They'd be doing what they do now, and they would have to work it as overtime.
Okay, so it could either be 12 hours overtime or 8 hours, whatever they choose to. It wouldn't be like, no, if you cover that shift, it's gotta be 12 hours.
The overtime rules would be the same. So if they work in excess of their 40 hours in the work week, they would be getting overtime.
Right, but what I'm asking is, like, can they split the shift, or does it have to be a full shift with the 12 hours? If they're on 8s, can they say, I'll take, an 8-hour overtime shift, or does it have to be a full 12-hour overtime shift? If they have to cover, if you get down to that.
Well, I guess that would depend on the demand. And what happens now is generally somebody would cover either the block of time that was necessary or the full block. So if it was an entire 12-hour shift, then they would take that entire 12-hour shift.
Okay. And then it says, looking at your calendar that kind of got sent to us, we're gonna have one shift that's not gonna have any kind of administrative on it.
We are down a sergeant currently, and offering a test in June. June 15th? Yep.
Okay, so when we promote a sergeant, then you'd be able to cover all four with,
Correct.
okay,
Span of control, if you notice, at this point, is still well within the parameters of standard supervisory coverage. So we would be well under span of control, which is roughly 7 or 8 members.
okay, and then also on the calendar though, are you gonna include dispatchers in this? Cause it says that dispatch is going to be short as well.
We are not. We are going to work with Otsego County to cover the additional traffic on the weekends.
Okay. So that kinda should have probably taken out of this before it's given to us then. The-
We'll still have a dispatcher working on the 4 to 12 shift.
Okay,
Yeah, I think what you're referring to, the example schedule that's attached, there's some notes on there from the unions of this reference to kind of our current staffing situation.
Is that 4 hours?
It's that
So I
sample
I
schedule.
think what you're probably looking at, I haven't seen exactly, but I think what you're probably looking at there is gonna be, I'm pretty sure. So we have an officer coming to field training here in just a couple weeks. Once that officer's off field training, he'll fill in the spot where that 4 hours overtime would be. So it's gonna happen every other week until he's off field training, so roughly 6 times. And then that's gone.
can you run that by me? I guess I'm not understanding on your, so he's gonna be coming off to cover 4 hours of dispatch time?
It's not dispatch time.
Oh, okay, they're gonna come here.
The shifts are Saturday for dispatch.
Okay. Alright,
Yeah, that's the Saturday you're looking at, that's what it is.
okay, I think that's everything.
Okay, thank you. And then I think Councilmember Walter, so his hand went up, and then I saw Councilmember Marks.
Well, I just
You
want to
have a
read,
question?
I'm sorry.
Do you have a question you said?
It wasn't really a question, it was just more if we could just have a little expansion, just to clarify, our discussion in the finance committee meeting touched on the fact that this is a shift temporarily, and that that part of the argument was that this would lead to a better work-life balance. Is that something that, okay? And that this was tried before in the police department, and that was quite a while ago. Do you want to, is there anything to add about that history?
I'm mixed, and I think that it's very subjective. So, from my perspective, 8s are more flexible for what it is that we're doing for coverage. The problem with 8s is that they also require more overtime coverage for the shifts, for people holding overtime. So a lot of times the work can't get done in an 8-hour day. So we can get a little bit of overlap, and it's not as much. And when you hold people from a 12-hour shift, it turns into a 14, 16, 18-hour shift. It can become very demanding, right? But the overall days worked with the commensurate time off, there should be more commensurate time off, which should lead to better work-home life balance in theory. We'll see. Again, I think this is something that people look at and they want, the officers want. I want to support them to make sure that they've got what they need so that we can do the job that we're hired to do.
Any follow-up on that?
I don't think so, other than this is just until December 20. It would go from June 1st to December, end of December.
Yeah, temporary, right.
Just to kind of clarify.
Thank you. Councilmember Marks, you had a question?
Yes, I was going to mention that too. So the trial runs from June 1st to December 27th, so that coincides with pay periods, I'm assuming. And it would automatically sunset unless both parties agree to it. Could you maybe midway through that, are you going to provide the council with some type of data of how it is working, the kinks and the positives?
We certainly
as well
can.
as
I mean, the
difficulties?
plan is for us to sit down and review this on a regular basis, just to make sure that, there's obviously with any shift structure changes, there's always going to be unforeseen glitches. Some of them have been discussed and worked out already when it comes to like ongoing investigative work that one shift may have to hand off to the next. We have some mechanisms in place to be able to forward that work off, a seamless handoff to the next shift, which is necessary. So we'll work through those again, so we can come back with a report.
And you just answered my next question about handoff from one shift to another. So you're not anticipating an officer working a 12-hour shift having to have to continue depending on the situation at hand?
It's always situationally dependent. One of the things in our line of work is, what's a caseload? If you have one good case, it can shut down everything else that you have going on. So if we have something big that occurs, obviously we're going to have to deal with it as a case-by-case basis. But we're hoping that this leads to a better balance, more interest in the positions, easier for us to fill the spots that we have.
Thank you.
Councilmember Matheson, please.
Chief, I want to ask you about fatigue. If if an emergency happens late on the third day of a 12-hour shift, when you're tired and fatigued, maybe your judgment could be clouded or not. So do you have anything to say about that?
Many of the officers now are working 12-hour shifts as it stands. So what I'm hoping for is that we'll have fresh relief coming in and then seamless handoff.
But the question was about, the individual officer after the third day of a 12-hour shift.
Yeah, there's always a concern, but again, the mechanism that we have for the seamless handoff, I think will be good. And we'll have to revisit it on a case by case, but we're not the first or only department to be running 12-hour shifts. Many police departments now are running them. Many local municipal police departments, including New York City Police Department, are running 12-hour shifts. State police running 12-hour shifts. So, while I agree there could be fatigue issues there, this seems to be a shift schedule that's preferable for the staff and preferable for recruitment.
Thank you.
Councilmember Carson.
So Chris, you mentioned that recruitment was kind of a large portion of this decision-making for you, but also to work with the existing staff. Are we down officers?
Currently, yes.
And do we have people in pro school? Or?
We just offered a test, not this last Saturday, but the Saturday prior. We had 11 sit for that test, and we don't know what that's going to look like as far as final candidacy. But we have some lateral interests potentially that we just found out about, but that's still a year away. Again, this is the environment that we find ourselves in right now. I think the fire department's had how many people sit for their tests recent? 3 times that?
30 to 40 range.
So this is the environment that we find ourselves in, and it's not a local issue, it's a national one. So, in order for us to maintain the staff that we have, we've had officers leave because of the schedule. Yeah.
We also had people not accept positions because of the schedule.
So we have to adjust.
Thank you.
I'd like to say I did a ride-along with Sergeant Gallagher last week for about 4 hours, I think. And I know he doesn't speak for the other officers, but he was pretty excited about this trial period because for his family life, he would have more time with the family in blocks. And he's already working long shifts already, and this will essentially ensure that he had a certain amount of days off where he can do family activities. He was very excited about that. And he said it a few times, we're excited about this opportunity to give this a try. So your point certainly resonates with me as far as the work-life balance, even though 12 hours might seem like a lot at the moment. If you look at like on a weekly basis or on a monthly basis, the time that they give their family is certainly very valuable. And just, I think, show them some light to get some more of that, which I think is good. Okay, no more comments or questions? Clerk, can you call the vote?
Councilmember Margie Campbell.
Aye.
Councilmember Walter.
Aye.
Councilmember McHugh.
Aye.
Councilmember LaFarge.
Aye.
Councilmember Carson.
Yes.
Councilmember Harrington.
Yes.
Councilmember Marks.
Yes.
Councilmember Matheson.
Yes.
Next motion, number 6. Motion that the common council authorizes the city administrator to execute a memorandum of agreement with the United Federation of Police Officers Incorporated, affiliated Local 408, City of Oneonta Police Sergeants Association, to temporarily modify the terms of collective bargaining agreement, Article 8, hours of work, to provide for an alternate temporary workday and work week for police sergeants assigned to the patrol division as presented. Is there a motion? Councilmember Carson, I think Councilmember Motion Campbell is second. Okay, discussion, as Councilmember Harrington said initially, that's very similar discussions.
Yeah,
All
kind
right.
of combined.
Any new thoughts or questions? Clerk, you call the roll.
Councilmember Motion Campbell.
Aye.
Councilmember Walsh Russo.
Yes?
Councilmember McHugh.
Aye.
Councilmember Lopar.
Aye.
Councilmember Carson.
Yes.
Councilmember Harrington.
Yes.
Councilmember Marks.
Yes.
Councilmember Matheson.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, Councilmember Harrington is departing.
Goodbye. Good luck.
As well.
Thank you guys
Thank
for
you.
doing that.
Thank you.
Yeah, that would. Bye, thank you for coming.
Thanks.
Bye. Thank you. Very comprehensive. That's all I said. Thank you. Could have done that, yeah. That was good.
Okay, now we're back to the top. And on to the mayor's remarks. There's a few this time, so I'll go through it and we can, some of it might work its way down to roundtable too. Okay, so I received a few questions regarding the armory, and that was the purpose of the video message last week as far as what's going on with the armory. We've had a number of meetings with the armory, and the Veterans Outreach is a serious interest in acquiring the armory. They're doing their due diligence, which is insurance checks, architectural checks, and funding. They look like they are getting closer and closer so that they can actually present us a proposal. The proposal will be essentially them acquiring it and where the terms of that would be. Once that's received, then it'll go to the negotiations committee to review, comment on, and if so approved, which I hope it would be, then it'll come to the council for full review, comment, and approval. The questions I get as far as what's going to happen to the armory if they were to acquire it. And I view it as very much a win-win-win. A win for the community in that the building is underutilized as it's in its current condition, and their intention, at least in the discussions I've had with them, is to utilize essentially every square inch of that building to the best of their ability to provide for veteran services, mostly. So that a large part of it, which comes up every time I've spoken to them about it, is building some sort of housing at the front part of the building. Once they have their architect, I walked through with them 3 weeks ago with Greg Mattias and Chris Arcabucci, and they were drawing and making notes and things. And so their architect is going to go draw some designs, and that will form the basis of what they can do. It looks like maybe 10 to 12 units, but that hasn't been determined yet. So they want to build housing. They're working on a food pantry. They're growing that. They're also providing access to services. Gary Flaherty there, the administrator, is working, I think, over 100 veterans in not just Oneonta, but in the adjacent counties and communities, attaching them and making sure they have access to different veteran services that they are entitled to. So that's the win. It's good for our community in that there are people here that are going to be served by the work that they do, and it's going to take a building that has been underutilized and increasing its utilization. That's the first win. The second win is for the Veterans Outreach, because it's a space for which if they look at the map of New York where they have footprint, this is an area of opportunity for them, in that they see a number of veterans that want to receive services, need services, and by doing more in Oneonta, that's better for the work that they do. So that's the second win. The win for the city is that we will not necessarily be obligated to maintain the building anymore. They will take it over, and I don't want to say tip my hat, but they are planning significant investments in that building to enhance it, repair it, make it usable for the things that they want to do. So it's essentially off of our responsibility onto theirs, and they are equipped to maintain it, build it out, and do right by that building. The concern that's come forward is what will happen to its usage as it is right now, and the good answer is nothing. It will not change. When the building was acquired, I think in 2001, it has a condition on the title that says it must always be used as a recreational space. It would take an act of the legislature in order to remove that restriction. The Veterans Outreach does not want to do that. We don't want to ask them to do that. It will always be, the basketball court will always be available for recreational purposes. Essentially what will shift is that those that want to use it will then go to the Veterans Outreach to sign the lease, do the rents, do the fees, whatever. It'll be administered to them as opposed to the city. But it has to be used for recreation. So the housing, all of that will not interfere with the recreational purposes and value of the building. So that's why I see it as a win-win-win. We get to keep using it to play basketball and other sports, which is a good thing. A number of organizations use it. The Veterans Outreach can do more in our community, and they're going to take the lead on the financial responsibility. So it's a very positive thing, but there is no proposal yet. Once they have essentially translated it to us, then we'll bring it to you. I think it's coming very soon too, because they're doing their due diligence, like I said. So, all right, next community conversation is May 31st. That will be at the Elks Lodge at 3:30. I brought flyers. If you'd like to take one with you, you're welcome to. Hand it to your constituents if you'd like. I printed more than one. You're more than okay. Love to see you.
We're doing it right
Take,
now.
let's just do it right now.
Okay.
Let's just put these out.
Okay.
Um,
I'm just gonna take, and I'll make copies.
That will be at Elks Lodge at 3:30, Sunday, May 31st. I'll do the same program as I did last time, and since I'll do a presentation, discuss some of the things that we've been working on over the first 5 months, and then take questions, comments, concerns from the public on any matter that they want to bring forward. Do you need more? Okay. That's up. All right, and congratulations to Harvard College, and we got the sign right here for Harvard and SUNY, their graduates, almost 1,400 this weekend. I think that's a pretty extraordinary thing that Oneonta can host 2 colleges and do it successfully. And now there's 14 graduates that are going to go out and make their mark in the world. And I think it's very proud for me to say that they came from Oneonta, whether it's at Harvard or SUNY. I think that's something that we should treasure. And so when I was up at Harvard graduation, they ring a bell for the graduates. And I asked them for a bell. I didn't take it. But this is the bell that they ring out to mark the conclusion of their time at Harvard, but in a sense, the beginning of the next chapter in their lives. And so I thought it might be a good way to maybe ring in our meetings with the beginning with a nice bell, thinking of Harvard, one of our important community partners. Harvard also had some big news last week. They received a $10 million grant, and they're going to be renaming their nursing to the Brent R. Nicholas School of Nursing. I think it's a wonderful investment, not only in the college, but in Oneonta generally. Empowering Hardwick empowers our community as well, and I'm very thankful that this person has such confidence in what Hardwick is doing and in the community that we are, that they are willing to make a substantial gift. Hardwick is very proud that they've done quite a good run of fundraising lately, surpassing their goals, attracting students from, as they usually do, but more students than in the past. So things are looking bright at Hardwick, and it's really nice to see that they're doing well. Okay. Memorial Day Parade and Ceremony, which is on Monday. Step off is at 10 o'clock with a ceremony at 11 o'clock in the Oral Park, correct? So hopefully you'll be able to join. If you'd like to walk with me in the parade, you can walk next to one of my daughters or my wife with me, and that way you don't have to think about walking with me. But you're welcome to join me in the parade. Okay, World Cup 2026. I'm very excited about this. I've been talking to Greg about this since January, and I think he understands my excitement. And the reason I bring it forward is that a number of communities are thinking about how they can host events around the games. There are more games this year because FIFA went from 32 to 48 teams, so that's a lot of games. And I think it'd be a fun way to have watch Team USA do their best in the World Cup. And any suggestions you might have, please let me know. Some email exchange, some conversations, whatever ideas you have. I think we have plenty of space in the community to offer some sort of a watch party maybe. Yeah, I think it'd be really fun. So if you have any thoughts on that, I'll be watching the games. So basically, again, if you want to join me watching the games, I think it'd be a really fun community event. Games, though, it might be at 10 o'clock at night, so be ready.
When does that start?
June 12th, I think. Is that right? Yeah. First game Team USA is June 12th, I think. Yeah, the group stage. Right, do you have that?
Yes,
I'm
that's
looking
correct.
Yeah, June 12th. Those are the USA games, but 48 teams. I think it's wonderful that they're all so many countries will be represented. Pride Fest 2026 and Otsego Pride Alliance. That is, I I think there are 3 planned events, starting with, there's a Pride Parade and also a number of other events. So I'm hoping you can participate in those. I will be doing as our previous mayors have done in starting with a proclamation and then hopefully attending the events in the parade. So mark that on your calendars. I think there's 3 events. I'm looking
Yeah,
at.
the parade, there's a parade and then there's a festival in the park, and there's several different parts of the festival, so,
Yes.
yeah.
Good. So, say, lots of good things happening for Pride
Could you give
Fest.
the date again, please?
June 6th,
Thank you.
parade is at 1:30. We're gonna be using Water Street actually for the lineup, we're pretty excited about that to see how that works out. And then the festival is gonna be 2 o'clock until 8 o'clock,
And the parade starts at what time?
1:30. Lineup is at 1 o'clock for anybody who wants to join the parade.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Okay, so quite a few bullet points on the mayor's remarks tonight, but a lot of good things going on in Oneonta, and I don't want to pass up the opportunity to talk about it and congratulate those that have done good things. So moving on now to public hearings.
Mayor, I have a question.
Is this a roundtable question, maybe?
No,
Okay,
about
go
the Armory.
Yes, go ahead.
The housing, is that going to be apartments or just rooms?
We'll see the designs, but I think they're thinking apartments.
Apartments. Thank
I
you.
don't know the size, the configuration exactly.
Right, but it's not going to be like a motel arrangement, it'll be apartments.
That's not how they described it, but I also have not seen any renderings, so I don't know. They described it as apartments.
Thank you.
Which is, so with that being said, then any of those plans will go through the planning commission?
Oh, yes, once, you know,
When
things
it
have to
really
happen
gets to that
first,
point.
yeah, but it'll go to that point, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Can I make a quick announcement?
Yes.
That the Oneonta Farmers Market has moved back to Huntington Memorial Park.
I can see that.
Starting this month, starting May 2nd, so it's been,
Oh, it's been going on.
yes.
Thank you.
Sure.
Okay, can we go to public hearing? Okay, what's the public hearing for Hill City Brewing CDBG application? We open that. Yes,
Yeah, I have a little explanation for it that I have to do.
you have to do it, and then we open the public hearing.
Yeah, or you can open it and I can do it during the public hearing. Or you want to do it?
How do we do that? Just mark the beginning of the public hearing? Okay, so it's 5:58, we'll start the public hearing for the Hill City Brewing CDBG application.
So
Please.
we have a sign-in, I'll just pass out to. So this is a public hearing for our community development block grant program. The state offers this every year. There's a number of programs within it that we can apply for. Housing, economic development, micro enterprise, public facilities, public infrastructure, and planning activities. We have to do this hearing every year for the current program year in order for us to be able to apply. Right now, the one known application that we are going to be applying for is the Hill City Brewing application, which will be for a grant up to $225,000, and there's job creation related to that. And there's no match from the city on that. We have used the CDBG funding in the past for a number of different types of grants. We've been very successful, and we'd like to continue on. So we welcome your comments.
Comments from anyone in attendance?
Anybody?
Any comments? Questions? Seeing none, I think we can close the hearing. Give you another. Okay. Not seeing any comments, questions or concerns, we'll close the public hearing at 6 o'clock. Any other action? I don't see any other action item on that. Okay, now, I know it's been a moment since we started the beginning, tried to do this earlier on, but now is the first opportunity for anyone who would like to address the council. This is your first opportunity to do so. If you would like to, just please state your name, your connection to the city, and then 3 minutes will be yours to make a comment. There will be another chance if something comes to mind at the end of the agenda. Correspondence, I don't see any correspondence, is that correct? No correspondence, there are no presentations. So we'll move now to the city administrator's report from Greg Mattice.
Thank you, Mayor. Emailed this to the council earlier today. You might not have had a chance to look at it yet, so I'll skim through some highlights for you. They already mentioned the Memorial Day Parade this week, or I guess it'll be next week. DPW is also installing, if they haven't already completed, the installation of the Hometown Heroes banners around town that the Greater Oneonta Historical Society provides each year. Community beautification, the downtown planting beds have been planted. It's included some statistics on the community gardens, because it's that time of year, we've got people signed up and moved in there. It's always a popular service that we provide. I won't read them off now, but just going through the different types of plots that we have that are a little bit bigger than the garden boxes, and there's also raised boxes which are accessible. You can see how many are returning gardeners that have used them, rented them before versus new. There's one non-resident, I believe, just one non-resident, non-city resident that's using these. I listed out by ward based on the information provided by the Community Gardens group, which they do a great job keeping track of everything there. If there are any questions, just let me know. Working with Carrie and the Community Gardens group about that. There are some vacancies, if anyone's interested. Please share that with your constituents. In the past, there's been a waiting list. We don't have anything exhausted now. And you'll recall there's an informal task force of the community gardeners that is looking at potential opportunities for other community gardens in the community elsewhere. So at some point, I'm sure we'll hear back from that with some recommendations. DPW continues working away at catch basin replacements. I listed again the number of replacements and repair by ward. You'll see them all around the city throughout the summer and fall. The fire department overhead door replacement's been completed. You may have heard a bit from Dave Corey in the past at various meetings about New York State Civil Service Commission New York Health Program. That program has been extended through June 2028 as they continue to develop and finalize their successor program, which will be some type of a jobs portal and applicant management system that will be statewide. Parks and Rec maintenance, obviously lots of mowing going on. Your Newall Large Pavilion has been repaired by our facilities and maintenance crew. In June, we'll be issuing an RFP for our combined consultant to help us with both the Smart Growth Comprehensive Plan, which is funded through a grant from the Department of State, as well as a separate Department of State grant for Brownfield Opportunity Area Plan. We're combining those processes into one. They're somewhat similar. We're a common steering committee that the mayor is working on nominations for candidates. We'll probably have that for the next meeting to announce, and that process will be a 1.5 to 2 year process at least. Skip over the law enforcement, we talked about that earlier. There's some sidewalk removal on Ford Ave today and other places in the city. DPW removes the sidewalk, preps the ground, and then the contractor to George Construction will come through and pour a new sidewalk. Fort Wilcox Barn construction's underway, and that was all I had. Unless you have any questions.
Question. The accessible parking on Main Street in front of the Artisans Guild, there is no ramps for people to go onto the sidewalk from there. Are we looking into fixing that? I didn't know what was going on with that.
That's something we can look at. I know there's not a ramp there. It depends on the type of accessible van, whether it's a van or not. Sometimes they have some ability to load in and out. Obviously, there'd be different types of.
Because there's a loading behind that, so just curious. Thank you.
Councilmember Mattis, yes, please.
Yeah, writing something. Oh, I just wanted to comment on the large pavilion at Newell Park. I had 2 opportunities to watch the guys working on it, and they've done an excellent job. Looks really good.
Thanks. Glad to hear that.
Thank you.
I have a similar comment. I went downtown for dinner last night and I noticed the plantings and the mulch right away. It looks beautiful, and I was going to send an email today, but since you brought it up, so yeah, that was really great. And I had asked a question a couple of weeks ago about the flags or banners downtown, and since this is on your list, I was wondering if I could just ask the delay in putting up new banners after taking down the winter ones. Is that because the GOHS provides the Hometown Heroes banners, and so there's sort of a difference between, like obviously it was 90 degrees, so we don't have snowflakes up.
Yeah.
Is that what causes that?
I believe so. I have to confirm, but I believe that's.
Okay, I think we may want to look into something in the interim, because it's been a few weeks, and I remember a concern being brought up before, and then I've also thought this when I've been downtown, that some of those like poles that those banners hang on without anything on them, like maybe this is retail in me, like every time I walk by a rack that doesn't have anything on it, I put a piece of clothing there, because that's what you're supposed to do for safety, so when there are just like poles sticking out with nothing on them, that kind of freaks me out. But so it's nice to know what's going up, what the plan is, but that just may be something we want to think about in the future. Something more nondescript maybe, so we can use it at different times of the year. Just so that it's like, take one down, put one right back up, as opposed to having it be two different processes. But I'm excited for those hometown heroes banners are nice, so. Thanks.
Sure, yeah, look at that.
Greg, can I just go back to the Neowell Park Large Pavilion? I see Wilbur Large Pavilion is not included. Is that happening this year at some point?
I believe we have enough budget availability to do some work at Wilbur as well. I'm not sure of the timeline on that.
Okay. And also, are you changing or doing anything different with the lighting on the Neowell Park Large Pavilion?
I believe their intent is to replace the lighting.
Replace? Okay.
Sorry. I know. I had a follow-up question about the planters that I didn't ask. So when you say planting beds, you mean the ones in ground, right? And the planters, is the garden club still doing those? Or
Yes,
are
they
going to
planted
do-
those once. They come again, I think usually early June, first or second week of June, to do the summer plantings.
Okay,
They used to just do the summer planting once, and then we added the spring planting.
yes, I'm familiar. I was just curious if that was continuing. Thank you very much.
Any questions? Seeing none? Thank you.
Thanks.
Actually,
Oh,
I know, he already sat down.
Okay,
It's about the planters, so the funding for that, is that city funding for those planters, or is it
Yes.
garden club funding?
City.
Okay,
I'm not sure if they supplement that.
gotcha.
Additional funds will be used by fund.
Okay, gotcha. Because I'm just thinking, I feel like they're usually done ahead of Memorial Day. But anyway, I'll follow up with them. I just wanted to know that detail. Thank you very much.
Wait.
No, that's it. I promise. Thank you, sorry. That was kind of a drawn out.
That was a good question. Good question. Thank you. Okay, so we're now on to committee reports, finance and human resources. Councilmember Walsh-Russo.
Thank you. We reviewed several appointments, about half a dozen, to various commissions and boards, and then we took a look at the MOA that we already discussed, and we went over the CDBG grant proposal, and talked a bit about the application process, and that was about it.
Any questions or comments on that? Okay. Next, budget review and strategic planning committee. Councilmember LaFarge.
Thank you. We met yesterday at 5 o'clock. We focused our discussion on the admin manual. That was something that was brought up during the budget process last year, as something that could potentially have a more in-depth look. And so we've all taken a look at it and provided notes of things that we might like to change, and we began our discussion on that, and we have a few things to follow up on, and main goal is to try to understand the financial implications of any changes that we make before we suggest changes to the council. Because it's presented as part of the budget process, we would need to get kind of preliminary consensus on the changes that we would make from the whole council before it's brought forward for approval, because the budget will be developed based on the admin manual as presented. So that, I think, probably later on in the summer will be something that we bring to the council for consideration. Just as a draft, tentatively approves the admin manual, and then we can go forward with the budget process and then approve the admin manual for the following year.
Thank you.
Yep.
Any questions? Thank you. Thank you for your reports. We'll move now to the approval of warrants. Motion one, that the common council approves the warrants totaling $549,913.39, and that the same be placed on the finance director's desk for payment as presented. Is there a motion, please? Okay, Councilmember Matheson first, second, Councilmember Marks. Thank you. Comments, questions? Okay, clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Roger Campbell.
Aye.
Councilmember Welch Russo.
Yes?
Councilmember McHugh.
Aye.
Councilmember Lepard-Shu.
Aye.
Councilmember Carson.
Yes.
Councilmember Marks.
Yes.
Councilmember Mathis.
Yes.
Okay, on to the consent agenda for the motion. Anyone would like to move any item of the consent agenda, which are numbers 2 through 4 to discussion?
No.
Okay, I have a motion to approve the consent agenda. Motion Campoli first, second. Yeah, Councilor Mattson has a second. Okay. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Roger Campbell.
Aye.
Councilmember Welch Russo.
Yes?
Councilmember McHugh.
Aye.
Councilmember Lepard-Shu.
Aye.
Councilmember Carson.
Yes.
Councilmember Marks.
Yes.
Councilmember Mathis.
Yes.
Thank you. Moving on, okay, so that actually covers, since we already did the discussion. All right, so actually we're moving on, we'll jump down to roundtable now. That was a quick jump. Okay, so there are two items on there, if you have anything you'd like to add to it. There are the check-in on the community structure, the data center moratorium. So I had, the reason these are on there is from following some discussion from the previous meeting. And the check-in on the community structure is, I'm the one new person here, and there's a bit of a learning curve, and I'm hoping that you can get some feedback as far as how the new committees are working, the communication between them, how that might roll into the council. So I had a couple conversations already with a few of you, and so like, if your comments, questions, comments, concerns, thoughts on it. It's been 5 months essentially, so it seems like now is a good time for a check-in and see what your thoughts are and how it's going. So I saw one hand as Walter said. Please.
Yes. Did you, are you ready for comments? Yeah.
Unless you want to talk about the data center moratorium first, but I thought we'd do the committee part first and then the data.
Sure. So I raised the concern that I had as finance chair from our last meeting because we've gotten several emails from council members, including Councilmember Harrington, who's unfortunately not here to talk about his concerns. There just seems to be a lot of, or I should say increasing, not a lot, but increasing confusion around which items go where. And I am concerned on behalf of the public that this creates confusion in terms of where do we find items if we are looking from the perspective of a member of the public, and then it could potentially, that confusion lead to a decline in efficiency. So we want to be as efficient and as productive as possible in our committee discussions. And so confusion and a kind of lack of clarity around which goes where in terms of item agendas can, I think, lead to an increase in inefficiency. So I just wanted to put that forward.
Sure, thank you. We had, anyone else want to add to that before I add a couple of thoughts on that too?
I share concerns, about, it seemed clear to me last year, what issues were gonna be going, especially for like finance and HR. And then there's been a couple of times that it was unclear, which direction, issues should be going to. So I think some clarity around that would be really helpful.
Sure. Okay. What kind of clarity? Because this is what I was thinking as far as the areas, where there's some areas where it might be, I'm not sure which kind of bucket it might go to. And I was thinking that the roundtable is a good section for maybe to start there. And then as a council, we can talk about it and then decide it should go to HR and finance or quality of life and infrastructure or another one. And that way, because it may not be clear which initiative or issue should go which direction, but then maybe the roundtable can discuss it, sort of like the data center moratorium discussion, and then it might go one way or another. Your thoughts on that?
Sure.
Because Councilmember Walter Stone and I talked about the airport. I know Councilmember Harrington and I talked about that too. That's an area where it is a bit confusing because where discussions on the concerns with the airport gone through HR and finance in the past, but there are some elements of the airport that are going to be negotiated, like which way should it go? And I completely agree with concerns about confusion and how we could try to eliminate some of that, which is why I had talked to both council members about airport business going through negotiations to try to provide clarity on that singular issue. But there doesn't mean other issues might come up. So that's when I started thinking maybe roundtable is an area where we can add it there if we're not sure where it goes, and then we can decide where it goes. That way everyone can see where it's going.
Yeah, I think the times that we've done that, like working through where the data center moratorium or different issues were gonna go, I think that having that, consensus from council, that was helpful to, direct those issues.
Yes.
Oh, I was just wanted to mention, so with the negotiations committee, so just about every contract will come through us?
Good question. So this had come up before as well, like with the YMCA services
Yes,
agreement.
okay.
And because that's a contract. And this is where maybe that could be confusing on that kind of agreement where it's a renewal, and it's where the terms were just sort of reinstituted, for the next year. So that's a good question. Where should that go? Should that go to negotiations, or should it go through finance and HR like you have in the past? Certainly open for suggestions on that. The idea that I put forward on the criteria for negotiations in the past would be contracts that require some form of terms to come to agreement to in order for the contract to be executed. So this would be like real estate, like the armory. That would be one that would be a prime example to go to negotiations, because they'll make some sort of offer. We have to look at it and then either accept it or not, which I'm sure we would. But that would be real estate. But airport would be, there would be leases there for hangars that could potentially go to the negotiations. But like purchase agreements, those are not negotiated. Those are supplies or other things that just go through finance, because they're not negotiating terms. You're saying, you need to buy this, okay, you buy it. Yeah.
So I just didn't hear, I'm having a little trouble hearing today, just for my own.
I'm having trouble speaking, so.
Perfect.
You're doing all right.
You said, excuse me, I just want to clarify.
Yeah.
You said negotiations around terms for offer. Was that your term that you used?
No, where there's terms that need to be negotiated for the contract to be executed. So like real estate would be one where you have a purchase price or other conditions that might need to be negotiated. That would be something that negotiations committee should look at.
Okay.
Or like collective bargaining agreements with the different bargaining units. Those
Yeah.
terms and those contracts are renewed.
Yeah.
That's why it kind of prompted this discussion, because with the police
Right.
work schedule change, should that gone through negotiations, or should that go through HR and finance? That one wasn't necessarily a negotiated thing, even though it relates to a contract. So I understand there's some gray areas here, and I want to make sure we can try to separate as best we can. Yeah.
Right. So just to clarify too, that the finance committee is finance and human resources.
Yeah.
So human resources is a catch-all phrase to describe often labor conditions. So when you talk about negotiation committee and you're talking about contracts around labor, that's generally something that you would place in HR. So, or, under that category. So that's why I'm a little confused, or more than a little confused, around even the term negotiations. To me, it seems like, a little bit of a misnomer. I mean, maybe a better committee title would be contracts, or
We can certainly entertain that idea, yeah. We can.
or, but then, to me, when you get into labor contracts, that's when things, the term negotiations maybe falls apart a bit. Because
Maybe the term negotiation
HR
is too broad. and
should cover that, right?
Right. We could think of another way to call it. The goal with creating that committee was to provide an opportunity for council members to see certain things that would have some negotiation element to it, so that you can participate in the negotiation and also have some concerns or questions answered early in the process before it comes to the full council. And there's some sensitive issues that are coming up, like issues related to the airport, issues related to 27 Market Street that came up last year, issues related to like the armory, which may be a small issue but still an issue. So those things I want to make sure there's a place for the council members to have an early as possible opportunity to participate in the formation of those things before it comes to a point where the full council looks at it. That was the goal of that
So
So we could certainly massage it a little bit and do better with it, yeah.
I mean, I would say just to offer a counter to that
Mhm.
description, that Finance and HR Committee did exactly those tasks. It's complete, so it was the site. For example,
Yeah.
when we had our discussion last May around 27 Market Street, we had council members concerned about the contract at the the significant meeting where we voted. And I proposed having the Finance and HR Committee be the site where then we take that contract again
Yeah.
and have a discussion. And that was voted down. Regardless, that was still a location where we could do exactly the kind of work that you just talked about. So I'm just saying that space already existed
Mhm.
as a empirical fact.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
Are you going up or not?
I did have my hand up, but I'm happy to just see how it goes.
Okay.
So are we thinking about the fact that maybe we should rename negotiations since it's such a
Well, maybe
broad-
if you feel there's a better way of describing it.
Contract negotiations, if it's strictly reviewing contract?
Contracts review. Just rethinking.
Well, it's just when you get into labor negotiations
Yeah,
and
right,
labor
yeah.
contracts, that's really the purview of HR. So that's why I'm saying that, you know, it's a little trickier.
Be more specific.
To be more specific.
Yeah.
Well, you could, oh, there it is.
There it is. I think that a distinction can be drawn that negotiations are about things that are upcoming and or changing, and HR can be the implementation of those changes. So structure changes for positions that are already existing and budgeted, those things seem like they're more HR, but collective bargaining would be negotiations. So in my mind, it's a little bit more nuanced, and I think that for me, what matters more than the name is the work.
Sure.
So I'm glad that we're having this discussion, because I was too confused, I also was confused, and I appreciate the sentiment that it's, if we're confused, then how is the public to make sense of it, so. But, yeah, and so I think too, there's a little bit of overlap between finance and budget, and it's sort of a similar, for me, it's sort of a similar distinction, which is that budget is about things that are not necessarily, but finance is more about monitoring the budget currently, there's a little bit more urgency to it. And budget is about more strategic decisions that might impact the budget going forward, like adding positions, like if we can't do it this year, then it would go to potentially the budget committee to discuss for adding positions next year, things like that. So that for me is the distinction, I think. And then I did just want to say, I agree that things that have come here to the roundtable, like we're doing right now, right? We're teasing it out, we'll come up with a plan. I don't know that that's always practical when it comes to singular issues. So I hope that we can come away from this with a framework that allows you to just put things where they make the most sense.
Well-
And then we'll all just not be mad about it.
Well, this is what I would like to do, is that I had a couple conversations, that's why it was on the roundtable, so we can all see it together. I'd like to include it on the roundtable for our next meeting, so now that everyone has had some chance to hear the concerns, confusion, and I also heard it, you can maybe think of some solutioning to it, and then we can talk about it next time, and then hopefully get into some specific clarity to make these committee structures work better. I didn't expect by putting the roundtable that we'd walk out with a solution that was ready, but hopefully some thoughts on a solution that we might have made this better.
Sure.
I thought, hand going up, yes, please?
So I just want to point out also for consideration, the idea that diffusing the various contracts and, processes within the organization, I think that's really where, when you diffuse everything across, and you ultimately are diluting then for public engagement. So I think there's a caution there that I think we have to, that the strategy of creating committee after committee can really, I think, lead to a dissolution of purpose rather than clarity. So I guess that just adds to my other argument. Yeah.
I got it, yeah.
Okay, yeah, just to kind of throw that additional idea out there.
Well, is it okay then I keep this on roundtable for next meeting? We can talk about it, once you've had, everyone's had some thoughts and we might have some specific ways to go about it. I appreciate the feedback because, you've all been here for at least a year or more. I'm the new one in the mix and trying to make things work easier for everyone. Carolyn, sorry. You're at everything, so I just assume you're always here. But Carolyn and Mark are the new members at the table, so don't want to necessarily just be disruptive, but hopefully helpful in keeping things moving effectively. You want to talk about?
Yeah, just on a related note, are we also, I feel like there was a discussion maybe during strategic plan or another time about talking about our boards and commissions as well. Are we gonna have a related discussion about that at some
Yeah.
point?
Yes, we
Okay,
should.
thank
Do you want to do that as a roundtable?
That might be a good place to do that,
Yeah.
yeah.
I was just gonna say, that was actually, this point was actually gonna be my second point, which is, I think we have to have a broader discussion, or it would perhaps be, give us a sense of purpose to really think about how many boards and commissions we actually have, and are all of them necessary, what kind of, thinking strategically, what kinds of purposes do they serve?
Sure.
More
This
generally.
is, I could put that on the roundtable for next meeting. That also sounds like one that would then drift into a committee though. Well, which one? But we'll put on, is it okay, we'll start with roundtable next meeting? So you have some time to think about it and provide your thoughts and get them ready. So we'll have at least continuation of some discussion on some ideas to work on the committee structure and a broad discussion about the boards and commissions, about the number that we have, the scope of their work, and maybe some improvements that we can make there.
In some universities, there's a committee on committees.
That's always the best.
Are you recommending that?
And absolutely not recommended.
What about a committee on commissions?
A commission on commission.
Oh, there you go.
Be careful when we make our commission committees, so that's. All right, let's move to the data center moratorium. This was something that was on the roundtable when I was absent at the last meeting. So we want to discuss this. What does the council want to do about a data center moratorium? I've received some comments and questions about it, some discussion about it. Not from everyone though, so here's a chance to think, what should we do? I have my questions and comments.
I'm ready,
yeah.
Where are we at in the process in terms of where do you see us being at in terms of the?
My view, based on, again, comments, things that I've had so far, is that there's essentially three things we can do, three routes we can take. One is the nothing route, just don't do anything. The second is the moratorium route. And the third is the update to our code route, which we could do. We can do any one of those three. So my recommendation would be to take the third option, which is to go for review and potential code changes that might be applicable relative to data centers. Because the moratorium will require that action anyway. And to impose a moratorium will take some work as well. So there's probably feels like we should just maybe jump ahead of that and get right into some discussion on code changes that might be applicable to development of data centers, which could mean restrictions, whatever it might be, but that would be my thought on that.
So to clarify, there
Go ahead.
there wouldn't be necessarily the need for a moratorium.
We can. I'm not saying no, but if we do the moratorium route, that's not a simple vote yes, no on it. We have to do some work on it. And then if we do impose a moratorium, we have to do other work as far as what that moratorium gives us time and space to develop an action plan relative to the data centers. So my thought is maybe we should just not do the moratorium and think about code changes to the legislative committee that would deal with the issue of data centers. Yes, please.
I would like to see us do a moratorium
Okay.
and study the issue.
Mhm.
And the reason that I would like to do that, that's the impression that I'm getting from the public. All the comments that I've gotten is that people would like to see us take action about this, and they would like action taken sooner rather than later. So I think that study is going to take us time, and in the meantime, if we have other proposals, we really don't have any way to regulate it. We do know that there were at least 2 inquiries to Otsego Now at the rail yards. That was confirmed. So we don't know, while we may not anticipate any, developments, other things happening, I think we've seen other, legislation that's in progress, and then projects come up that, get approved before that legislation passes. So this is just a way for us to halt, any further development while we take that time to study it. So, because I don't think, like, if we do a moratorium, that is not an action on its own. I think we need to do the moratorium and take that time to study and, set up the legislation that we need to protect our community, and especially water and, electrical infrastructure, which I'm gonna say for Councilmember Harrington as well, because he brings that up, every time that we talk about that, I know he especially has concerns about our water infrastructure.
You make an important distinction there as far as what a moratorium does and doesn't do. It doesn't, I've gotten some comments from, yes, okay. Some comments from the public that a moratorium is sort of a stop on it. It's more of a pause.
Yes, exactly.
And it sounds like the folks you're talking to have made that distinction clear. So
Well, I've helped make that distinction, but
that's
yeah.
the perception that I'm worried about as far as like what we are doing and not doing about it. A moratorium isn't necessarily a final solution. It's really just a pause mechanism. And there's one way or another, right? So, okay, so thank you. I think Councilman Carson's hand was up, and I think Councilman Marks, and then we'll come back. Yes, please.
Okay, so
And I didn't see where you got up, but.
Yeah.
to move this forward, in the past, code changes have actually come out of the ZBA and the planning commissions. Both of those guys worked on it. So if this is something that the council wants to do, then that's a workload that needs to be passed on to those 2 groups before it comes back with legislation. And so then I would turn to Judy and say that somebody from her office is going to have to shepherd that through. I thought Don brought up some really good points in his email response to the mayor. I've known for a long time that we do not have the power. So any requests coming in are more likely going to get denied by NICEAG because we just don't have the electrical capacity to handle anything. I think he raises some really good points about, do we want to come out of the gates saying we're against something moving forward? It does raise some good points. I do like the fact that you raised that. Resources wise, we don't have to say no to data centers, but we had similar discussions about the town of Oneonta and how much water are we going to put through that valve. So maybe that's a way that we discuss this rather than going after a singular industry, if you will, as Don raised in his email. So I would just like to raise that as a point, that maybe we don't have to do a moratorium. Maybe we can work on what is our water infrastructure, because I agree, Elaine, I'm concerned about how much water we have. Chris Jacobucci and his staff do a very good job of keeping us apprised of where that water level is. I mean, as you all know, we were up in March, but now we're down for average for our water rainfall, sorry. So I'm concerned about the amount of water that would be used anywheres, whether it's in that industry or another industry. So I think we should, as a council, talk about that precious resource of water rather than saying no to AI or a data center, sorry, I'd rather talk about our resources of water. Okay.
Can I just ask a clarifying question?
Yes, please.
So you're suggesting infrastructure-based code changes, like how, in the Bogan news tables, you're saying things that have like a high energy use or a high water use go into the Bogan news tables. That makes sense.
And there would be an opportunity for the folks that are on ZBA and the Planning Commission to research that and really find out what the needs are of the community.
Okay.
So again, I think there is a value in the moratorium. Again, we don't want to stop progress, but I think you hit the nail on the head, Len. I was thinking we don't want to define by acronyms, more by the threshold of what electricity and what was looking at the threshold of water, electricity. Is it creating a job, or is it just, consuming our resources? So I think during the moratorium, all of this, and it's going to take a number of different organizations and thought processes, putting this all together. So I have to agree, we have one chance to do right in the rail yards if that's what we're looking at. And I think it's important that we do look at all of that while we put a moratorium in place.
So, I want to make sure I understand you correctly. You're in favor of doing a moratorium, but then I also identify the things that need to be addressed during that
Yes.
period. Okay.
Yes. Mhm.
There was a hand here, right? Oh, and then, I'm sorry,
Yeah, no,
we'll come back to it. His hand was up first.
I'm in order, if there's
Okay.
someone else.
You sure?
Mm-hmm.
Because I've talked, so this is about AI now.
Okay, we'll come back.
Yeah.
Well, I don't want to reiterate what I spoke to about at the last council meeting. Elaine kind of summarized that. As far as, Elaine, you're correct that there were 2 inquiries to Seago Now. However, there was no follow-up. They went away. It wasn't a serious inquiry. It wasn't a serious attempt to bring an AI data center to Oneonta. And I think the other point is that I was listening to NPR today, and they had an interesting story about white-collar workers. And the thrust of the story was that in the coming year, or the coming 2 years, as many as half of the new white-collar hires that were planned won't happen because they'll be replaced by AI. So the thing is, the technology is here and it's growing. And I would hate to see that we would discourage companies that use AI from ever coming here. And as I said last time, I think healthcare and life sciences and higher education are among the biggest users of AI. So it's here, unfortunately, it's here. And I think having a moratorium sends the wrong message. I'd rather we just work through codes.
Oh, I'm not sure.
No, let's just say they go, but, yeah.
Don't let
Yeah.
them go.
I won't take too long, but I wanted, actually, my first point is point of clarification. That our last meeting, there was mention by the city administrator that there would be a seeker review in June for this. Is that correct?
I think that's what we would have to do for the moratorium.
Moratorium.
So that's what's required.
There has to be a local law laid on the desk of the council. and
Okay.
The council would have to declare its intent to lead agency procedure and do that process.
Yes.
It would take a couple of months before anything would be
Okay.
properly approved.
So that sort of almost puts, if we were to go through with the moratorium,
We could, we start that next meeting, right?
the seeker review in June,
We'll get some clarification.
Yeah.
the moratorium.
Yeah,
Okay.
like you've seen this past local laws before. You need to
Yeah.
approve, the language.
Yes,
You can't have seeker on the statute that you haven't figured out
without
what's in it
what you're
yet.
doing. Okay,
You lay it on the desk, then you proceed.
then seeker. Okay. So I just wanted to clarify
Yeah.
that, because I had the timeline that the seeker review would potentially take place in June. And so that was, if we had passed a moratorium in May, we could move forward with at least a couple of months' notice, right, for that review. Yeah, okay. All right, so I just wanted to get that clarified, just for the sake of our public conversation here. And I just wanted to weigh in. I assume we're probably gonna have another discussion about this.
Oh, I'm assuming.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's imperative that we have another conversation. So I'll just mention that I think from what the research has so far yielded, the economic development effects, the positive effects for a locality are fairly minimal for these data centers, AI data centers in particular. And there's nuance in terms of what kinds of economic development actually transpires and what that looks like and so forth. But generally speaking, it seems like the research is showing that they really don't have a great benefit economically to a locality. So with that in mind, what we do know is that our resources, to draw on Councilmember Carson's point, our resources here are invaluable, and we have to take care of those resources as best we can. So I would be very much in favor of a moratorium in order to, as Councilmember Marks pointed out, really draw from existing research, look at our locality, what will be the costs and benefits, and to do a thorough review, I think is and not to be, hyperbolic, I think it's imperative here. And a moratorium a pause would allow us to do that. Again, keeping in mind that the broader context seems to indicate that these AI data centers have generally the sort of net positive is minimal. So.
Thank you. Oh, I think you were first,
And then,
Thank
I
you.
just wanted to follow up with.
sorry, I wasn't pointing as you were next.
Can I just
Oh,
ask a
okay.
quick question, because I can.
You're next, that point was the next. Please go ahead.
So thank you for refreshing us that we have to do the seeker, Councilmember Walsh Russo, because I forgot about that. So my question, I guess, is for the people with more experience in the room than I, which is that, like, these two things can be happening concurrently, right? So like, we can lay the law, we can do the seeker, all of that. We can be working on what we may want to do in terms of changes to the code of welcome use tables and all of that at the same time. So I think there's value in pursuing both. And I have no problem discouraging people, okay, now I'm going. I have no problem discouraging industries that are pushing AI and replacing workers, because I think that right now, this is a top-down thing and they're trying to see how far they can take it. And I'm very happy to come out on the side of, like, the reason why we're here is to participate in a society, and people who are sort of actively dismantling society by pushing things like AI. I think if we push back on those industries, the less likely they are to expand their use of AI over time. Public sentiment is worth something. I think it's okay to come out and say, we don't really want this. And I think it's important, to borrow a word from Councilmember Washer, so I think it's imperative that we do that here in our community, and that communities do that all across the country. So that's where I stand on it.
Thank you. Councilmember Masson.
Thanks for letting me
And
know.
then Will Kimball, and then back to Chris.
Cecilia, you're absolutely right that there's very little positive economic impact from an AI data center. There's some construction jobs and then a few technicians to keep it all running, but as far as being big employers, they are not. And there's no question about that. However, where there are employers are the companies that use AI. Now, it's true that if that NPR story is true, I should say, that there will be fewer new hires in white-collar jobs, and that's unfortunate. But we can't stop technology. The people who,
Yeah, that's what we're trying to do.
just 2 weeks ago, there's always going to be technological advances. The business that I spent my entire lifetime in, journalism and radio and television, most of those jobs have gone away, and the ones that are still there pay very low. They pay a fraction of what they used to. We still have a need for journalists, but they're not going to make six figures, and that's unfortunate. So I have no choice but to embrace technology. And I think it's going to, because if we don't get those jobs in Oneonta, they'll go somewhere else.
Thank you.
Not to be wrong.
Yes, please.
So, all right, I'm gonna try to pull together a couple points that I've been thinking
I left off the
about
last
as
part I wanted to
Oh,
say.
sorry.
I'm against AI data centers in Oneonta. I always have been.
Thank you. Well, okay, yes.
So, yeah, to try to pull together a couple of ideas that I've been thinking about listening to this discussion, okay? I'm again gonna advocate for the moratorium. I also think it's imperative. It allows us time to study. This isn't about stopping the progress of technology. This is about giving ourselves time to be thoughtful in how this is developed for our community. I'm gonna go back to the original reason that I brought this up, and I'm glad, I think it was Councilmember Lepari mentioned that this is about taking care of our community. The original reason I brought this up is because the town of Oneonta had also been pursuing and now passed a moratorium. This would also be a way for us to join in community, show solidarity with our neighbors, okay? Again, I'm gonna mention how important it was to all of the constituents that I've spoken with. I have not yet spoken to somebody who's against it, and a moratorium specifically. I want to point out the timeline that we're talking about just to establish the moratorium. And then also, go back to how long it's going to take us just to get our new codes up in place. A lot can happen during that time. This technology is moving rapidly. We can't predict what the next month, 6 months, year is going to bring with this. The other thing that I remember Councilmember Walter Russo brought up to us that I think is a really important point with, along with this, I think at the last meeting, is that we have no protections from our state or federal government. We are relying on only our own resources. Given that this is an issue that we have to take on ourselves as the city and protect our community, I really think that taking a moratorium is the best course of action for our council to do the best work that we can to protect our community and our resources. So again, I just want to go back to, this is about standing up for our community, and this is about standing in solidarity with our surrounding communities.
Thank you. I think you might have the last word, and then we'll kind of wrap this part up. Go ahead.
So again, for me, this is about the water resource. So if, I'm going to assume that everyone in this room has gone to or heard of a water park. So if a water park comes and petitions today, they will use more water than what we're talking about. Are you going to say no to them? We don't get an opportunity to say no to them. So for me, this is about that large volume, that bulk usage issue. NYSEG is going to tell the data center they don't have the electricity. When everybody was up in arms about the rail yards 10 years ago, whatever it was, when they did the clearing, NYSEG knew they didn't have electricity to provide them anyway. So it was all this yelling and screaming for nothing because they don't have the electricity. They have not updated their infrastructure. That's why I'm against their pay rate. That's why I went up to City Union and said, I'm against this. You haven't done what you said you were going to do more than 10 years ago. So for me, this is about bulk usage. Katie, you're absolutely right. That chart right there needs to be addressed because it doesn't matter the industry. Stop singling out, for me, I don't want to single out a particular industry. I want to recognize that we don't have the water to provide a large usage. And a great example off the top of my bald head is Watermark. So,
thank you.
And everybody would love to have a Watermark.
And your bald head.
Am I?
No, I don't want it.
Wow, all right. We have a splash pad.
All right, okay. That's
Well,
that's
it
enough
makes
water.
sense.
Okay, well, thank you. I think it was a good discussion. I'm gathering from the comments and the questions that we would like to move forward with the moratorium.
Yes.
And within within that moratorium, there's a number of things that we need to go after so we can protect our resources and ensure that development in Oneonta is going to be development that develops our community and not necessarily harms us.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. So I think we'll start working on that in the next June 2nd meeting. Good, thank you.
Can we do a couple off the cuff council roundtable?
Oh,
things?
yeah, I thought that was more.
Yeah, so brief.
Okay, yes, please. Council,
I can keep
Lepari
it.
Shu,
Yeah.
you want to add to it? Yes, please.
Yes, so I did just forget to mention that the mayor stopped by our strategic plan, or budget review and strategic planning committee, and gave an update on the possible draft type document of a strategic plan
Mhm.
for us to review in June? Question mark?
Before June, but at the meeting, yes.
Before
So we can
June,
talk
okay.
about it in the June meeting, yes.
Okay, cool. So I just wanted to keep the council informed of that as well, and I appreciate you coming in and talking to us. And then the other thing that I wanted to just follow up on is the city administrator review, for which we had a few meetings.
Yeah.
And then, I'm not sure where we are in that process.
Sure. I had sent a draft for everyone some of the comments. I received comments from a couple folks, so I'm going to send out another draft because I've heard more. After, I don't want to keep doing the repetitions of this. After the last draft, let me rephrase that. After the next draft that I send out based on the comments I received, after those comments are received on the gosh, I didn't know.
Okay.
I think it was
Excuse me.
3, 4 weeks ago I sent it out. No,
Maybe I didn't get it right.
Maybe. Oh, gosh.
Because it was, okay, because you sent out the first one and I submitted a comment, right? And then you were gonna send out a second one, did you send out a second one?
I did. I don't think I got a comment from you.
Okay, so I didn't get it.
Okay,
I'll
then my
check that.
mistake.
So then, sorry to bring it up to
Yes,
everybody.
but
Yeah,
on the process on that, I did get some feedback on it.
Okay, great.
I'll make some changes to it, and then I'll go out again. After that one, you know, we can always revise and revise and revise.
Yeah, yeah.
I think we've kind of narrowed down on some of the areas that we'd like to include in that final document, and so I'll make sure it's clean and informative. So, sorry, I didn't get it.
Yeah, no, thanks.
Yeah, but thanks for bringing it up. And.
Yeah, just real quick, I just wanted to point out that May is Mental Health Awareness Month, so I just wanted the public to know about that. And also to let everybody know, and I'm sorry I didn't think to include this with our reports, but the ad hoc committee on homelessness did have a meeting last week, and that will continue to meet approximately quarterly. We're gonna wait until September, let the summer go by, and then have 2 meetings in the fall. But I know Mayor Butterman and Councilmember Marks has been coming to those meetings as well. We have a lot of great provider organizations, including the Vet Center, and a lot of our other local organizations like Opportunities for Otsego and Department of Social Services, and some other representatives. So we'll continue to meet and work on solutions, and we're happy, to, keep talking with other community partners and gathering ideas and solutions that we can bring back and discuss. So just wanted to let the council and the public know that that is continuing. Thanks for everybody's work on that.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks for bringing that forward. Okay, any other bullet items? So I'll leave the last bullet item, that if you send me your bullet items before the agenda goes out, I'll include that on there. That's okay, if you don't, it's not that, but, I know
Sorry.
things pop in your mind or they come in after the agenda, that's okay. But if something that you want to discuss, and you're not sure where it goes anywhere else on the agenda, the roundtable is a good opportunity for it, that we discussed tonight. So if you send me those things, I'll include it on the agenda so that we all can see what we want to talk about. Or of course, when things come up, let's move forward. It was a good discussion tonight. I appreciate the feedback, the discussion we had. Here's some good things to work on. And I think that brings us to the next opportunity to address the council, if you like to. Here's your second chance if something's come to mind. Then you have 3 minutes after you say your name and your connection to the city. Okay. It's okay. We'll have another meeting on June 2nd. Thank you for being here. There is no executive session tonight, so that will adjourn our meeting at 6:53. And with the bell.
Thank you.